waving with the cards. How's it going? I am here to do your reading for the Taurus full moon. Now, it happened already yesterday. Today is the 13th, so we're in the full moon energy. And I will be putting out 3 of these cards from the nature spirit, so you can pick which one for your advice towards the end. And then we'll be taking a look at the current energy. Now, one of the things that I've noticed, and I'll be picking these cards while I tell this story, is that the current energy is very much about how you roll with the punches, right? What do you do when life reminds you that you don't get to control everything? So there's like lots of issues, little annoyances, losing your phone, somebody promising to show up for a dinner, and they don't. You're trying to plan a weekend, but there's like 80,000 variables and you can't decide which, so like everything being sort of more difficult than it needs to, not being able to conclude at the speed or in the direction that you like. And then just other little annoyances, maybe someone's stolen your phone, or, you have a teacher who grades unfairly. There's lots of little instances of power being taken away, and how we react to that. And what do we do? Do we fall apart? Do we take it on the chin and say, okay, well, what's the lesson? Like, how do I find the opportunity in this setback? Or, okay, let me just put that to the side and I'll just do something else. So it's very much about, I think I said this already, rolling with the punches. And can you find your own calm in a very frustrating storm, right? And it doesn't have to be like major things, but sometimes those little annoyances, like enough little annoyances, can turn into a big deal. So the idea is really finding your zen in the face of daily adversity, or just being okay with when life reminds us that we don't have power, and finding how actually our power is in our ability to respond to that, to respond. And that's the Mercury in Scorpio going retrograde now, is that we're learning how to respond in the face of lost control. Now, can I get a card? Okay. Here it is. Very nice. Perfection. Although, again, this is the question, what is perfection? Is it the plan that we had, or is it the way things actually go? Many times when we find obstacles, they are meant to set us backwards on a path so that we can go back and sort of like double check our steps. You know how like when we used to do math tests and stuff, they would always say, go back and check your work. Because if there's an error in the process, there is going to naturally be an error in the result. So sometimes these retrograde pushbacks, which we don't like, are to help us check our life work, right? Like, did I really understand that lesson? Or am I going to fall down when things get tricky? So we don't like these moments where they take away our power, but they are there on purpose to help us sort of check our work. As we aim towards, a definition of life perfection, but also understanding that everything is perfect the way it is. A lot of those synchronistic moments happen. It's like, I think I commented to someone the other day that I was always waking up at 5:26 at one point in my life. And literally yesterday I woke up at 5:26. So when life does that to you, it's kind of like a little wink that, hey, you are where you're supposed to be. I got you. Like I'm watching, I'm here, even though it doesn't necessarily feel like it. And maybe it doesn't make sense to you based on whatever your life contract is and your life plan is. Things are right the way they are. And when the season is right, you will harvest those fruits, right? You can't rush when things bloom. There is a natural order to things, and things happen when they are supposed to happen. And they're shifting. It's funny, I was just noticing my roses are blooming in November now instead of May. So, and then sometimes, you know, things go different according to plan, but they're responding to the outside variables. And so that is the new perfection. Perfection isn't always the exact same thing. Now, can I have the challenges, please, for Aries for the Taurus full moon? What are the challenges for Aries at this Taurus full moon, please? Okay. Interesting. Developing a new vision of things. Now, remember, this is literally what I was just saying, is that perfection, what was perfect to you 10 years ago may not be perfect today. And it's very much about rewriting a vision of your life for the future. You know, it's like, I held this valid for so long, but it doesn't mean it has to be valid for the future. So our challenge is in understanding that there is a process, right, that needs to be followed. There is a process that responds to external conditions and adjusts to respond to it, right? So when the weather changes outside, the flowers bloom at a different time. That means we need to sort of adjust our plan on how we go forward, right? So now I can't keep expecting my flowers to bloom in May anymore, knowing that they now bloom in November. And I can get pissy about that because say, hey, I wanted my flowers in May and they're supposed to bloom in May. Why are they blooming in November? Or I can say, all right, this is the way it is. That's what I can expect from now on, or that's how I need to shift my vision of my own expectations. And it's so funny because so the deck that I was just dealing from, this is the card on the bottom, right? Talking about blooming flowers out of rocks and at the wrong time. And, you know, so things like, and it's interesting that there's this whole idea of things blossoming. Because one of the other things I wanted to mention is that things don't always stay black, right? Like this morning it was pouring down rain, 20 minutes later, bright sun. Yesterday my friend got his phone, we thought it was stolen, and then miraculously it appeared out of nowhere. So even if you have lost all hope, which Scorpio season can do to you, hold out, but also like it's in how you respond to those conditions that you're able to shift this new vision, right? Like my friend was about to start freaking out about his phone and he was like, you know what? Let's just go get lunch. There's nothing I can do about it right now. So surrendering to that loss of power, there's nothing I can do about it right now. Let's just go have a nice lunch and make the best of, of this situation. It's crappy. Let's try and make something good out of it. So very much about, again, that approach to when life takes away your power, can you shift your vision of how that thing's supposed to be so that you are constantly in a state of perfection, right? Can I get one card, please, for Aries at this Taurus full moon? One card for Aries at this Taurus full moon, please. What's the story for Aries at this Taurus full moon? These are nice, encouraging cards, though. I really like them. Oh, right. Okay. So we've been talking about feeling stuck, right? And when you feel stuck in the mud, what do you do? And do you, so with this Mercury retrograde, this is how it's going, and there's a waning moon there. So that's very much this sort of energy. So we may feel stuck, over the next couple of weeks, or this full moon may bring us a sense of being stuck, especially since it's Taurus and fixed earth. And with all, it's so funny because there's so much earth and water in the sky right now that it like feels like mud, and we can often feel like we're trudging through mud in these periods. So the idea is, and these kind of tell this story, is how can we shift our vision on being stuck, right? What needs to happen for us to look at this situation in a different way so that we are able to see the perfection in the moment, right? Can we look at this experience with new eyes, with new zen, with new energy that will allow us to feel abundant and flourishing even when we're stuck in the mud? Because that's power, right? When you're able to be here no matter what is happening outside, then no one has taken away your power, because you are the master of your own alignment, right? So life takes power away from you so that you can actually get yourself into alignment and just sort of vibe in this perfect energy no matter what is going on the outside. Now let's get 3 more cards here, please, even though it seems pretty clear. 3 cards, please, for Aries at this Taurus. Woo! Okay, one sec. All right. Yeah, so tough vibes, right? Maybe feel like you're fighting with everyone around you, and life is a little stressful right now. There's those 2 6s. You just want to move away from all of this crap. And there actually is progression here. So it's like the ability, if this is the challenge, right? This is the 5, being able to move forward on your own out of this sort of tension and childish games and feel like the world is coming at you with 15 or 5 different wands trying to beat the crap out of you. How can you not only get to a place where you move forward, but move forward, because this has kind of a melancholy feel to it, right? It doesn't look like it's after the 5 of Swords. So it's like I'm moving on, but I don't necessarily want to be moving on. And so how do we move this moving on, instead of it being sort of sad, into it being triumphant, right? As a celebration of, I'm no longer like, you can come at me with all your wands and shit, but I'm here. So you guys do your 5 of Wands thing. I'm here. One more card, please, for Aries at this Taurus full moon. One more card for Aries at the Taurus full moon. Okay, Page of Swords. Yeah, so there's this sort of like, not childish, but youthful gathering of information, right? Developing a new vision, developing a new way of looking at this process. And this card keeps like, I'm going to pull it out here because it keeps staring at me. So, it's like, how do you find the flower in the rock? How do you, I was looking at the numbers on that. I thought it was a 7. What way, with fresh eyes, how can we take with fresh eyes, because there's the page, so it's sort of like young, almost as if we were teenagers again. How can we look with fresh eyes and renewed optimism, courage, new vision on this energy? Because this energy, unfortunately, is never, ever going to go away, right? Like this morning, my teenager's 14-year-old. My daughter is a 14-year-old. And this morning she was like, oh, I have a pimple again. And I was like, well, it's not like you heal the one and it's never going to come back again. that's part of the process now for the rest of life. You're going to get pimples your entire life. So it's not about like every time something crappy happens, succumbing to this energy and being like, oh, again. It's being able to grow in adversity. It's being able to find the perfection in everything, even if it doesn't look the way you want it to look. And this may require, in this moment, a sort of renewed sense of youthful optimism or youthful way of perceiving this process right here. Okay, so maybe there's like a situation where we're very jaded, we're tired of this, and we just want to unplug, right? And so is there a way we can get into this kind of Page of Swords energy because you see there's like sort of this battle over here. There's these three kind of sort of dark cards and these three very bright cards. And the Page of Swords is kind of in the middle, right? And if he can re-perceive this side, it turns into this. You see the birds are kind of flying over here and the clouds move towards here. So what can we do to embody this sort of energy, to look at our problems or look at being stuck? So kind of like also Mercury in retrograde thing, looking at this past process of all this feeling stuck and feeling challenged and always having to move forward, but not in a victorious way. This isn't like the Six of Wands moving forward. This is kind of like always feeling lost. Like, yeah, great, I'm moving forward, but shouldn't look very happy about how she's moving forward, right? So how can we shift this energy into this energy where instead of feeling stuck in the mud, we actually are okay. We're able to blossom in improbable conditions. I mean, that's in a rock, right? And I'm reminded of in Greece, in Santorini, it's all like volcanic ash. And yet they produce wine against all odds, actually, because volcanic ash is very nutrient. And they were able to sort of wrap instead of trying to grow them vertically, they wrapped them around circularly to protect from the wind, because it was the salty wind that was always killing the grapes. So the way that they developed it in a circular fashion, by reimagining how they were taught to build vineyards, they were able to produce wine in improbable situations. So this Mercury retrograde and this full moon is really asking us here to re-envision how it is that we process, again, feeling attacked, feeling stuck, feeling like we're constantly moving forward but don't necessarily want to. This is sort of the feeling of powerlessness of life moving forward even though you're not in agreement with it. Into being able to see the perfection of every moment. And look, she's sort of calling to him, the way the cards are placed. She's whispering on the wind, like, hey, come over here to the light side, right? There's sort of like the dark energy and the light energy. And it's a matter of him sort of turning his head around and reimagining the way this could be. Now let me get one. So that's very much this, like, Mercury retro is helping us by taking away our power, is helping us see the flaw in this process and help us to, it's called exposure therapy. If you're afraid of spiders, they will have you have more contact with spiders again and again until you're sort of numbed to it, much like an antibiotic works. Don't start, please. I'm not fighting on that. But the idea is to give you repeatedly small doses of that thing which bothers you until it stops bothering you. So every time the universe comes in to like irritate you on taking away your small pieces of power. It's to get you to a point where you're like, don't care, right? Like, lost my phone, $1,200 down the drain. Somebody may have stolen it. Let's go get lunch, right? And to look at things in different ways, to be able to be the flower in the rock, to have a new vision on being completely aligned, regardless of what the hell is going on in the universe around us. All right, let's get one word of wisdom from the Ascended Masters. Can I have a word of wisdom for Aries at this Taurus full moon, please? Words of wisdom for Aries at the Taurus full moon. Oh, okay, that one. Interesting. From Master Buddha. Increased awareness, deep connection, trust your inner voice. Okay, so, Master Buddha has mastered that energy of being centered and aligned and present in all time, space, and dimensions. So that's, how do you, but also like leveling up from, how would the Buddha see this situation, right? And being your own Buddha, being able to rise above that into that. Okay, let's read these cards. Let me get the book out here. I will start here. So this one says the Sacred Mountain. Okay, let's read what that says. Sacred Mountain. Be still and take the time to move into the silent place within yourself. Locate your internal source of power. Meditate. Wait. Do not move forward until it feels right. Surrender to stillness. Do not take action. If you observe rather than react, you claim your power. Crazy. That's literally what I just said. Okay, so your native spirit wants you to know, from the vantage point of the sacred mountain, your power grows. In silence, you'll find your sacred witness. It is the dwelling place of your soul. In peace, seek and discover your truth. Move past the bustle and clatter of life into sweet quietude. If you're in pain, don't lash out. Go into it until you find the source so that it can be healed. Resist the temptation to indulge in feelings of stress, urgency, and emergency. Your power is born in silence. This peace gives birth to your serenity. Seek solitude to listen to the voice of your higher self and awaken your inner wisdom. This is great. Okay, so here's a meditation for you. The journey says, travel to the peaks of hallowed mountains. And if you can't do this in person, travel in your meditation. Imagine yourself atop a high peak. You can see the world in all directions. Give thanks and offerings to mountains. Mountain will deeply appreciate your gift. Okay, very cool. So that's like really in line with all this. This is the Spirit Keeper of the South. Let me hold that card up there because it's a really nice image. Let me get that for you. Spirit Keeper of the East, North, South. Here we go. Card meaning abundance and prosperity in all forms. Lovely. Expansion, surging energy, activity, movement, rapid growth. Be open to receiving the bounty of the universe. This is a great time for medical procedures. Your energy will be at a maximum. Of course, I don't recommend any, I'm not giving medical advice. This is just reading a book. So your native spirit wants you to know, in the medicine wheel, the south is the direction that symbolizes the warmth of the noonday sun, summertime, the full moon, and a time of rapid growth. Crops grow with vigor during the summer months. In the human cycle, it also represents the vitality of childhood. It's also a time of great bounty in all areas of your life. Open your arms to receive gifts from the universe. The journey. Stand facing south during the midday. Close your eyes and feel the warmth of the sun opening your heart center. Absorb the sunlight as you sense yourself absorbing the abundance in the universe. Very nice. So you guys are like here. Nice. Very nice. And then this last one, nature spirits. Okay, let's see what this says. Joy, delight, peaks of carefree abandon. That's like that. Living wildly, magically, and free. Be open to the wonders of the universe flooding into your life. Innocence and delight are abounding. Happiness is on its way. Your native spirit wants you to know that almost every indigenous culture recounts stories of fairies, often called little people, and nature spirits. Although some of the fairies act in protection of their wild lands and should be treated with care and respect, most often they bring blessings and delight to all in their realm. If this nature spirits card chooses you, then welcome to a wellspring of joy and magic. Beneath the surface, mystical interventions are occurring in your life. Relax, all is well. The journey meditation is even taking a few moments of stillness in the natural world can help you attune to the world of the little people and nature spirits. If you see a small flash of light or a movement of a leaf on a windless day, these are often signs that the wee folk are near. Very nice. So it's interesting, sort of like a progression of abundance as it goes from red to yellow, moving up from one chakra to the other. Very interesting. Okay, great. So I will leave you with the energy of the Master Buddha and wish you a very lovely full moon energy. Take care.